Hello and welcome back or welcome to the channel. I'm Loudguns and in today's vid we're going to be giving a quick rundown of what new ships are going to be available to buy in game with patch 4.7's release later this week. The uninitiated, I always like to keep the focus on what you can work for and earn in game, as opposed to looking too much at hard currency transactions. So it's always cool to see what has made it into the in-game ship shops with each patch. So if this sounds good to you, grab a cup of tea while I roll the intro, then let's get into it. As ever, I think it's a timely reminder for folks that you really don't need to spend anything more than the $45 for a starter pack, with ships tending to become available to buy in game 3 to 6 months after their release to the folks who pledge for them. If you are thinking of getting into Star Citizen, just make sure to use a referral code when you create your account, as you'll pick up a bit of extra starter cash to get yourself going. Mine's the one up on screen, but if you've got any friends who play already, just ask them for theirs. There are now 7 possible locations in game to buy ships, 3 in Stanton on Crusader, ArcCorp and Hurston, 3 in Pyro at each of the major space stations Ruin, Obituary and Checkmate, and the newest addition Teacher's Ship Shop at Levski and Nyx. This wins the unofficial Loudguns award for coolest ship shop, and it's where we're going to find 2 out of 4.7's 3 new additions. So without further ado, let's take a look at some ships. Straight out of the gate, we've got a pure Marmite option in the form of the Grey Shiv. Coming in at just over 5.5 million, you'll find this one at Teachers. It comes straight out of something like a Scrap Heap Challenge Fever Dream. The Shiv is a cobbled together mishmash of a Cutlass Black, MSR and Valkyrie. But don't let its looks fool you. Despite looking like its masking tape construction will fall apart in a stiff breeze, it has about 5k more HP than the Cutty Black at 34,300. In terms of components, it's quite a similar beast with a size 2 shield, size 2 power plant, size 2 QT drive and 2 size 2 coolers. Wise though, the Shiv provides some of the best ballistic gatling weaponry in the game, with 2 size 4 breakneck ballistic gatlings under pilot control. And further to this, we have a remote turret with 4 size 3s. In the absence of a co-pilot, this turret will slave to pilot control as well, giving you similar firepower to an F7A. If you've got a friend to bring along, you can obviously get more firing arc coverage. The Shiv also brings a missile payload of 8 size 3s and 8 size 4s. On board you get a robust, if mildly filthy interior. It wouldn't be a Shiv commentary without mention of the 2 buckets after all. And due to the cut down chassis, you do only get 32 SCU of space on board versus something like the Cutty's 48 SCU. But the dimensions here do let you take one of the largest 32 SCU containers on board, something the Cutlass can't handle given its older design. So if you come across something particularly juicy to loot, you shouldn't have any issues here. Next up, at just shy of 9 million credits, you can get yourself behind the sticks of a Vandal heavy fighter, the Stinger. This copy made by Esperia has been retrofitted for human normies like us. You don't need to be an 8 foot tall, vicious alien to reach the pedals. Combat meta is obviously heavily in flux with this patch with all the various armor changes, and for a while now heavy fighters have more generally struggled in the meta, with handling characteristics that often beg the question why you shouldn't just bring along a larger ship with heavier weaponry. I didn't particularly enjoy the Stinger in the bit of time I spent flying one in 4.6, as while it packs a ton of guns, the mismatch of weapon sizes struck me as a little odd, with 2 size 2s, 4 size 4s and a bespoke size 5 Wrath plasma cannon, making it pretty difficult to find weapon combos that worked well together. Missile complement is decent though, with 16 size 2s on board. In terms of components, you have 2 size 2 shields, 2 size 1 power plants, 3 size 1 coolers and a size 2 QT drive. But while it might not be my cup of tea, I can't deny that the Stinger has the looks. I love how all of these Vandal ships just look plain old mean, and as ever in SC, the rule of cool is the best guide as to what you should buy. Never let anyone tell you that you shouldn't enjoy a ship that you are having fun flying. But speaking of my cup of tea, we finally have one of my absolute favourite ships making its way to the in-game shops, with the Anvil Paladin coming in at 15.9 million from Astro Armada at Area 18. This came in a fair bit cheaper than I thought it would, given the Anvil dropships, the Valkyrie and the Asgard, are 20 million and 17.9 million respectively. I was expecting it to go the other way and come in around the 25 million mark. Paladin is a gunship capable of taking up a crew of up to 4 people, featuring this really cool split deck design where 2 gunners in the lower bridge control a remote turret each with 2 size 4s, while the co-pilot controls the giant quad size 5 turret. This turret has its very own party trick, with a rail system allowing it to be deployed either above or below the ship. However, I think the Paladin really shines as a 2-person ship, where the 4 size 4s on the sides will slave to pilot control if you don't have the extra people in the 2 lower deck seats. This just gives you a crazy amount of firepower and coverage for 2 people. It's the ship me and my mate Spud have been using a ton as I've been introducing him to the game, so if you're looking for a vessel to help show your mates a bit of the combat side, then I honestly can't recommend anything more highly. In terms of components, you get that all-important size 3 shield, giving you a massive shield HP pool, 3 size 2 power plants, 2 size 2 coolers, and a size 2 QT drive. Internally, the ship is really well thought out with great use of the 2-deck design. It properly feels like a long-range patrol boat. I'd probably better stop there before I let too much of my personal bias come through though. So there we have it for the new additions in 4.7. I'm obviously very happy to see the Paladin make its way into game, and also for the Shiv, since with that being the only way to get hold of breaknecks, it felt like a bit of a paywall issue to me. To that end, I was rather hoping that the Greycat MDC with its MRX Torrent Ballistic PDC would be showing up in the ship shops as well this patch, but hopefully that will be added in 4.7.1 or 0.2 to open up access. I've never had a problem with the way CIG do ship releases. I think it's completely fair at this point in the game's development for people who pledge for a certain ship to have an exclusivity window, but by way of a little feedback, I'm not a fan of weapons being bundled in with this. Throughout 4.6, breaknecks and ballistic PDCs have been very much the meta, so having these in-game but impossible to earn just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. My preference would be for ship hardware to be added to the in-game shops or loot locations like contested zones, around about the same time that the ship is released, just to level out that playing field. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with this take, and if any of these 3 ships are going to be a priority buy for you when the patch goes live this week. As ever, if you enjoyed the vid and think I've earned it, I'd massively appreciate if you hit like, subscribe to the channel and tickle that notification bell. With all that said, thanks for watching to the end, and I look forward to seeing you next time.